I would like to welcome all the eminent speakers, Mr. Sanjay Shrivats, Mr. Chetan Gupta, Mr. Vijay Mohan, Mr. Ravi Rai, Mr. J. Biswas. In fact, I got a call message from Dr. Rajat, the Special Chief Secretary Tourism, that he's traveling from Hyderabad to Vijayawada at this period. So he would not be able to make it. Anyway, we'll catch him up some other time. I would also like to welcome the participants and also the live viewers on the social media. Uh, as Mr. Sunil has already mentioned, just to reiterate in the capacity of the president of this New Tourism Foundation, we have picked up the theme of rebuilding domestic tourism in various states. This is the fourth state that we are taking up. We started with UP, with did J&K, we did Goa, and now we are with Andhra Pradesh. And the idea behind taking the domestic tourism part is primarily because all of us know that in the midst of COVID crisis, when everything is still not open, especially the inbound, the outbound, the obvious choice for the people of this country is the domestic tourism, and that is going to start first. Many states have already started. In fact, I was very happy to know that after we had this webinar on Goa, just about 2 days ago, I read that from 6th of July, Goa has been, open to the tourists with certain protocols. Now, why we are taking Andhra Pradesh today? To my mind, there are certain reasons, and I would like to highlight make a SWOT analysis as to what are the strengths of Andhra Pradesh and what are the areas where they can further work to promote domestic tourism at this point of time. And thirdly, what is the role of various stakeholders within Andhra Pradesh, whether the state government, also partly the role of Ministry of Tourism, the tour operators, the travel trade, the hospitality. I'll come to that later. But beginning with, what are the strengths of Andhra Pradesh that we are focusing on domestic tourism at this moment? Number one is, as I said, Andhra Pradesh is one of the relatively more safer state. If you see today's tally of the spread of coronavirus, you would find that it is ranking 10th, and there are states which are worse than Andhra Pradesh, and with just about 10,000 active cases. I think for a state like Andhra Pradesh, it is a very good achievement, and that makes it more suitable to domestic tourism or to make a beginning. I also feel that since in the new Andhra Pradesh, after it has been bifurcated, because of less urbanization, the COVID spread is also likely to be lesser than those states where the urban agglomeration is more, and you can see what is happening in various metros. Now, secondly, a very important part is that Andhra Pradesh itself at the moment is very strong in domestic tourism. It's predominantly, a domestic tourism destination, and the figures also speak, and prove the point which I am trying to raise. Therefore, the policy of the government, the policy of the stakeholders, the travel trade should be focused more on domestic tourism. If you see the figures of 2018, I picked up from the India Tourism Statistics. Andhra Pradesh recorded 195 million domestic tourists. That is about 19.47 crore people, domestic tourist visits, whereas the foreign travelers were 2.81 lakhs. Now, it is just about, you can say, 0.97% of the total foreign travelers who come to India. Whereas in terms of domestic tourism, Andhra has almost 10.5% share, and it ranks fourth among all the states. So Tamil Nadu, UP, Karnataka, and then Andhra. So domestic tourism is the first choice for Andhra. It is the strength, and till the time it develops its inbound tourism more and more, it must focus and derive more and more benefit from the domestic tourism. The third point is, in terms of strength, is it has incredible destinations. In fact, I would like to call upon everyone, all the stakeholders, that when you think of Andhra now, in the new order, in the new in the new era, whether it is in the midst of COVID era or the post-COVID era, is that we have to think beyond Tirupati and of course beyond Hyderabad, because that's no longer going to be a part of Andhra. And what are the various attractions? Now, in terms of themes and destinations, I will just give a very quick recount of those areas which has fascinated me and which has fascinated the world and would fascinate everyone if they are exposed to. Incidentally, friends, I have been very lucky to have gone around almost the entire Andhra Pradesh in various capacities. And in the last Lok Sabha 2019 elections also, I had the opportunity of being a special observer. So I traveled all along the coastal belt and all, and it was fascinating to see so many things. So I'm picking up all those areas and what are the new thrust areas which can be developed. Now, in terms of nature, ecotourism, wildlife, you have Araku Valley, a hill station. You can have coffee plantations. You have coffee museum, which is very rare. You have tribal museum there. Then you have in terms of nature tourism, you have Pulicat Lake, which is the second largest, I would say, brackish lake in India after Chilka of Odisha. Then you have Nagarjun Sagar. So these are various areas belonging to nature, ecotourism, and of course there are wildlife sanctuaries as well. Pilgrimage, of course, we all know Tirupati is leading the domestic tourism in Andhra Pradesh, but at the same time, you have many other places which need to be highlighted. Sri Salem, where you have the Jyotirlinga, then you have the Dwarka Tirumala, then even Vijayawada, I would say, the capital, land of victory, it is said, and it has some religious connotations, the past. So that is also one of the pilgrimage and one of the religious destination. Then Shri Someshwar Temple of Bhimavaram. So these are, the religious, spiritual, and pilgrimage theme which Andhra has in plenty. Then beaches, of course, Vishakhapatnam and many lovely beaches around Vijayawada can also be seen, and they are all strong points. Heritage, Andhra is no less. You have Gondikota, you have Lepakshi, which has a legacy of Vijayanagar dynasty. Then you have Karnool. Then you have Bora Caves, which are considered to be 1 million year old limestone caves and the deepest caves in the country. Now, this is something so unique. People don't know about it. So these are the areas where in the new Andhra, which is smaller than the erstwhile Andhra, so the focus would be on these destinations as well. Then in terms of culture, you have Rajahmundry, which is also called the cultural capital and considered to be among the oldest cities in Indian subcontinent. So friends, many areas which, but at the same time, during my stint as Secretary Tourism in the Ministry in the Government of India, and even otherwise, I've been able to find out some more areas where the government is also working, the Ministry of Tourism also working. And one such area, friends, is the coastal circuit. I would like to also mention that during my time and even a year before, almost 200 crores of worth of projects have been sanctioned for developing coastal circuit, particularly development of Kakinada, Hope Island, Koringa Wildlife Sanctuary, then Pasarala Kudu, Aduru, and then Potipalli. Then another project of AP Coastal Circuit for about 60 crores. A lot of money has already been spent. I'm sure Mr. Vijay Mohan and all the local stakeholders would know what is the progress. Then AP Coastal Circuit, even Sanjay Shrivats would be able to know what is the progress in these projects. Another project which was sanctioned in my time is development of Nellore, Pulicat Lake, then Ubla, Madagu, then Mela Pattu, and many other areas around that. And then thirdly, we also sanctioned a project for Buddhist circuit worth about 52 crores. So this was including Amravati, it was Balikonda, it was Kotlakonda, and many places. So Buddhist circuit is another very major area which can be projected and promoted in the state of Andhra Pradesh. Then another area which during my visit and all along the road journey I saw, the agri and farm tourism has also a lot of scope. During my journey, I saw those large large volumes of red chilies, on the field looking so beautiful. Similarly, banana plantation. So agri and farm, and Andhra Pradesh primarily is an agri-based economy. So it has a lot of things to show to people from all over the country. And of course, the tribal circuit. You have Vijayanagaram, you have Araku Valley, which is primarily tribal. So this is another area which to my mind, Andhra Pradesh can encash this strength of itself. Now, in terms of core infrastructure, in terms of connectivity, I would particularly like to mention and name it as, the coastal road all along from Bhubaneswar up to Chennai is nothing like a marine drive. It's a long drive with all the major destinations, whether it is Visakhapatnam, whether it is Vijayawada, whether it is Nellore, whether it is Tirupati, slightly off the line. So road journey today being one of the safest modes of traveling, Andhra has got a beautiful coastline road all along its destination, and this is one major strength which it can push. Now, secondly, in terms of air connectivity, you have Vijayawada, you have Rajamundi, you have Tirupati, are the airports which you can use for reaching. Even I would say, in order to reach Andhra Pradesh, you have National Highway number 5, National Highway number 7. Like NH7 connects you to Karnataka, to Maharashtra, also to Kerala. NH5 connects you to Telangana, Odisha, and its beautiful roads. So my point basically is that you have the air connectivity, you have the road infrastructure, and you also have good set of train connectivity with Vijayawada as one of the major junctions of railway, which can offer you a good scope for domestic tourism. Now, friends, despite all that I have mentioned about the strength, I would also like to mention certain areas where Andhra wants to needs to do something more. I would call it as a weakness, but these are the areas where it should concentrate upon. Firstly, I would certainly acknowledge and admit that after 2014, when the states were bifurcated, there is a need for both the states, not just Andhra Pradesh, also Telangana, to build its own administrative structure, to build its own tourism organizational structure, and to build its own tourism infrastructure. So everything had to start afresh. So it takes time. So it is time that the state of Andhra Pradesh should concentrate on these activities in order to build a robust structure of tourism and an ecosystem which was slightly affected because of the bifurcation. Same thing maybe Telangana also has to do. The second thing is about the tourism policy. Although the tourism policy of 2015, which is in use today, it has focused on two aspects, and very rightly: theme-based development and destination-based development. And in destination, they have picked up Visakhapatnam, Vijayawada, Tirupati, Rajahmundry, Kakinada, Srisailam, and Nagarjunasagar. Similarly, on theme-based, they have concentrated on beaches, ecotourism, Buddhist, religious, heritage, MICE, adventure, and spiritual. Now, what is important now is that the policy, incidentally, I would have told Dr. Rajat, and maybe if Mr. Shrivats has joined, or maybe later on when we give the takeaways of this webinar to the state government of Andhra Pradesh, we would like to mention that it's time that Andhra Pradesh should come out with a new policy. They should formulate a new policy, number one, because in the new regime, in the new order, in the new normal, there are many things which need to be changed. And number two, because in the policy of 2015, it was written that this policy is valid for 5 years and it will end on 31st March 2020. So it's already March 2020 has passed. So I would call upon the state of Andhra to start working on a new policy. If it has not worked, it has not come out with. Now, what should the new tourism policy factor? It should factor the tourism infrastructure which has been approved by the Government of India, Ministry of Tourism, whether in the form of Swadesh Darshan, whether in the name of Prashad. Then the health safety in the light of COVID has to be incorporated. Focus on lesser known destination, as I had mentioned, look beyond Tirupati. Then expand the travel trade base, which is not very well developed. I would give some instances as to compared to smaller states, the travel trade infrastructure of Andhra Pradesh is very meager, very small, and I will give some figures also. And then you also have to build MICE destinations. Andhra, the present Andhra does not have too many good hotels, too many MICE infrastructure areas, which it needs to develop. And of course, it has to also provide greater incentives, both for investments and also for a successful operationalization or revival of the tourism industry in the light of the COVID. And when I spoke about building adequate tourism infrastructure, I would like to give some figures I have picked up from the India tourism statistics. And they say that in all, the classified hotels in Andhra are just about 50. And out of them, the 2-star and 1-star are zero. Now, I don't blame Andhra for that. Telangana and AP got divided. And maybe Hyderabad being the urban area, it has got all the good hotels, all the nice infrastructure. But now is the time when Andhra Pradesh should invite investments. And in order to invite investments into hotel infrastructure, they must come out with good incentives so that people get attracted towards Andhra Pradesh. And there is a need because there's 195 people, 19 crore people coming into the state is a big number. They may be coming, the first attraction may be Tirupati, but they need to be diverted. They need to be clubbed with other destinations, and the period or the stay of destination should be expanded and they should be taken to other destinations. Now, compared to that, similarly, there is a lack of midway resorts. When I went all the coastal line on the road, so-called Marine Drive, which I have named, I found that there are no good resorts. So there is ample scope for resorts to come up, and they will be certainly successful because if you want to travel Andhra, you have to travel by that road which comes from Bhubaneswar and goes up to Chennai. And you cannot avoid giving accommodation facilities as midway resorts in terms of caravan, so these things. And as I mentioned earlier, the recognized travel trade service providers, you'll be surprised to know that the Andhra Pradesh has zero adventure tour operator, zero domestic tour operator, inbound tour operator, zero tourist transport operator, one, and travel agent, one. I'm talking of the recognized one. So even places like Goa has 11, Karnataka has 37, Tamil Nadu has 72, and Maharashtra has 80. Compared to that, the travel trade service infrastructure in Andhra Pradesh is very meager. Some other areas which Andhra needs to focus on is the island river cruise, the sea cruise along Vishakhapatnam. I know that the Bay of Bengal is rough, more rough than Arabian Sea, but smaller destinations can always be picked up from Vishakhapatnam. I had also, in my last visit to Vishakhapatnam, I also visited the port and had a meeting there, and also saw the berthing facility there. There was a domestic inland river cruise berth also which has been created, and a temporary terminal was also made. I believe that terminal has been converted into a permanent terminal. Some money was also given by Ministry of Tourism to develop that. So water-based coastal circuit tourism use has to be developed, and of course certain urban-based attractions, because even Vijayawada, I mean, it's the biggest city out after Vishakhapatnam, but it still, you need to have a lot of urbanized attractions like entertainment, like amusement, and as I mentioned, wayside resorts and some good hotels. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I come to the second part. Now, what to do at this point of time, how to rebuild, how to go forward in domestic tourism. So I would discuss very briefly about the role of stakeholders. Now, I'll start with the Ministry of Tourism. The present scenario is that Ministry of Tourism and the Government of India, first is you need to have normalized aviation services. Today, the aviation services have started, but they have not reached an optimal level. It is a fact that even people are fearful, that is another area, but at the same time, what comes first is important. When you started the aviation services, today 75,000 people one day on last Saturday have traveled according to the Honorable Minister of Civil Aviation. Similarly, you need to normalize the railway services. Since Andhra is very well linked, it is dependent on the rail connection too much. Interstate movement by road should be allowed because all the other states, Maharashtra, Odisha, and adjoining states, these are all waiting. So there has to be a free movement between these states into Andhra, which is going to open the domestic tourism. And as I mentioned, road journey is one of the very important strengths of Andhra Pradesh tourism. Similarly, I would say that state-specific re-promotion has to be done by the ministry, focusing on certain lesser-known destinations. For example, it has taken this Dekho Apna Desh campaign. Andhra Pradesh state government should liaise with the Ministry of Tourism and should push them to take Andhra Pradesh and its destination in this campaign, which they have started on virtual mode. And also the ASI monuments, which have been opened from 6th July, I believe the earlier they are activated and started, with all the health protocol, the better it would be for the Andhra Pradesh tourism to develop. Coming to the state government, I would like to highlight what state government should do at this stage. First of all is you have to promote the safer destinations and mention, first of all, the state as a whole, that Andhra is a relatively safer destination. And that is what is going to attract people, because today any traveler who wants to travel, who wants to go around, he would first of all rank the safety, health safety on top. And of course, there should be a portal in which destination-wise safety and what are the protocols which have been followed at the destinations during traveling have to be given in detail. In fact, I have also always been very vocal about even giving district-wise information, because destinations are based in districts and district collectors and district administration knows about the health safety of a particular destination much more than even the special chief secretary at the state level and of course the secretary at the ministry level. So people are going to go into the details as to what does the district collector say about the health safety of a particular area and which travel mode is safer within the district. Thirdly, the health protocol has to be implemented for incoming tourists at the borders. And that should be as simple and friendly as possible. It should not be such a strict and rigorous that, people will say, oh, never again, I will never get into an Andhra border because the kind of problem that they raise. Similarly, the quarantine conditions, if at all they are there, they should be very simple and rationalized. It should be one of those in which neither the safety is affected, at the same time it becomes tourist friendly. And of course, while you attract travelers to visit their destinations in Andhra, the use of digital platforms, I think, is a must, whether it is pre-booking of hotels in terms of vouchers like Goa has done. Unless you book a hotel prior to your visit, you will not be made to enter. So you have to at the border show that this is my voucher, I am staying in this hotel. So these are some of the measures which you may have to take at this point of time. So it's better to take some measures and start working and kick-starting domestic tourism instead of waiting for ideal conditions to develop, that when the COVID ends totally, then I will start tourism. It will not be a very practical idea. Similarly, online ticketing wherever you have ticketed destinations. Then the field tourism teams, the field teams of tourism department should go around and supervise, the people as such, whether they're following the norms, the government destinations, and certify the health safety. The more movement of the health safety, the movement of the tourism department people is seen by people, they would know that there's somebody who's keeping a very close eye. And similarly, they should also test check the hotels and restaurants for the health safety. It is good for both. Even the hotels and restaurants, if they find that some teams have come and they have given a clean check in terms of health safety, it is going to be in good humor for even these restaurants and hotels. It should not be taken as a kind of auditing, because it is ultimately the message that goes to the people, which is more important. The perception about the state, the perception about a particular hotel, that this hotel is more safe and this hotel is not so safe. In this hotel, the team had gone and they had given a certificate. In this hotel, the team has not gone and they have not given a clear certificate. So these are the things which will matter at this particular moment. And ultimately, main idea is to build travelers' confidence, because it is he who is going to travel into your state and into your destinations and properties. Coming to the travel trade and hotels and restaurants, my always one mantra is please follow the guidelines given by ministry, given by health ministry, given by the state government. Build travelers' confidence at the hotels, at the stay points, during transport, prepare new itineraries, promote safer destinations, safer themes, and keep the pricing reasonable. A low pricing marketing penetration strategy at this time will work instead of having a very high price, because even today people are slightly hesitant to move, and they will certainly be doubly hesitant if they are made to pay much, much more. There will only be some compulsive people who may have to go for some reason, who may pay more, but a leisure and holiday traveler will certainly wait for the prices to come down. So you have to sit together and see that the prices are not skyrocketing. And of course, the travelers' confidence has to be developed, and more make them feel safe. And the travelers, of course, have to be made to follow the guidelines and SOPs also, because if the destination follows the SOPs and the travelers don't follow, that also an eye has to be kept, and surveillance has to be done that a destination is not violated by the travelers also. Friends, I have tried to give an overview and a kind of SWOT analysis, strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats, related to Andhra and how we can begin domestic tourism. We have speakers in today's webinar who have much more knowledge about Andhra Pradesh than me. Therefore, it will be nice to hear both the government preparedness from Mr. Sanjay Srivalsi, if he has joined, and also we are keen to hear the eminent representatives of travel and tourism industry from Andhra Pradesh and from ADTOI. With these words, Mr. Sunil, I hand over back to you to take the proceedings ahead. Thank you very much.